Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about Matthew 18 verses 7 through 9. Now this came about when a sister of mine posted a video and she was talking about offenses, like how do you handle offenses? And the first thing that came to mind is when Yahusha said that there will always be offenses. There has to be. There will always be offenses. And so in the Bible that I read as the Scriptures Bible, it says, starting at verse 7 of Matthew 18, woe to the world because of stumbling blocks. For it is necessary that stumbling blocks come, but woe to that man by whom the stumbling block comes. And if your hand or foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. It is better for you to enter into life lame or crippled, rather than having two hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the everlasting fire. And if your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you. It is better for you to enter into life with one eye rather than having two eyes to be thrown into the fire of Gehenna. Now, let's go back to verse 7, right? So, most other um, scriptures say offenses, they don't say stumbling blocks. Now, look at the word offenses in the Blue Letter Bible, and the Greek word for it is scandalon, right? Which I'm pretty sure that's where scandal and scandalous come from, right? So, scandalon means a movable stick or trigger of a trap. So it makes me think of like when you're trying to catch a mouse, right? And you put like a stick in some kind of Tupperware bowl and make it look like a kind of like a tent, and the mouse hits the stick and the Tupperware bowl falls as a trap, right? It also means a snare, any impediment placed in the way causing one to stumble or fall, i.e., a stumbling block, right? It also means any person or thing by which one is entrapped or drawn into error or sin. Now, let's set the scene, okay? Think of someone who has anger problems, right? Or let's just say someone who has anger problems and is also impatient, right? This person is on their way to work. You know, they've done the work, they've gone to therapy, they've gone to anger management, they've been working on themselves to not get so angry and to have more patience. They're on their way to work, right? Let's just say that they left the house like a couple of minutes late. You know, sometimes leaving a couple of minutes late can make a world of difference on when you get to wherever it is that you're going. So left a couple of minutes late and they run into traffic. Now, mind you, if you look at the map on your phone, typically if there's traffic, it'll show you the traffic, right? And it'll say how long the traffic is, how long you're going to be waiting. Let's just say that this person hits traffic and the map says 45 minutes, right? And they lose their mind. All of that work and progress that they have done, they have lost it. It goes out the window. That would be a stumbling block. Anything that is placed in your path to make you get out of character, right? To act like you're not set apart. Anything to get you off kilter. That's what it is. That is what a stumbling block is. Anything that's going to get you into sin. That is what Hasatan wants to do. He wants to get you to sin, to fall into sin, to fall off the path, to fall off the narrow path that leads to Yahuwah in the kingdom. Anything that causes you to fall off that path is a stumbling block. Now, mind you, Yahusha says it is necessary that stumbling blocks come, but woe to that man by whom the stumbling block comes. Woe to that person. And you don't want to be on the other side of a woe when it comes from Yahuwah or Yahusha or really from anybody. You don't want to be on the other side of that because that means detriment to you, right? To be on the other side of any type of woe. Have you read Revelation? Have you read the book Revelation? The three woes. You don't want to be on the other side of them. But Yosha said that there has to be stumbling blocks, right? It's necessary because what stumbling blocks do is they help to increase your endurance to the point to where you can hop, jump, and skip over a stumbling block and it does not phase you. It does not, anything can fall in your path and you can leap over it without missing a step, without hesitancy, without anything slowing you down. That is the whole point of having stumbling blocks. You have to be able to get over them and not fall into the trap of it, right? You have people who will start arguments or pick fights with other people, and the whole point is to get that person to stoop to your level. For example, for my job, I part of my job is de-escalating a person who calls in, right? If the person is upset at the agent that they're talking to, it could be that they're cussing them out. My job is to de-escalate the situation. When a person is that upset that they're cussing people out using racial slurs, all kinds of words, what they're trying to do is bait you, right? You know how like those videos on social media where people do like rage bait? It's like they want to get a rise out of people. They want to start a riot, right? Um, that is what they want you to do. They want you to stoop to their level. They want you to get out of character. And the thing is, some people will go so far to hit so far below the belt to get to bring you down, to drag you down to hell with them. That is what people will try to do. That is what Hasatan will try to do, is bring you down to hell with him. That is his whole purpose. That's his whole goal, to bring us down with him. But it's necessary to have these stumbling blocks so that you know what to look for, so that you can know what's coming your way, right? And that's the whole point also of being sober, being watchful, having discernment, knowing when somebody is trying to bait you or cause you to sin. So be mindful of stumbling blocks, right? Be mindful of scandals like scandal, scandalon. I'm going to look that up and I'm going to put a picture on the screen to see if that's what scandalon, if that's where scandal comes from. But moving into verse 8, and if your hand or foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. It is better for you to enter into life lame or crippled rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the everlasting fire. Now, I'm not 100% sure that Yosha was like meant this literally, but in today's time, it would be if your hand or foot, let's start with the foot. If your foot causes you to stumble, that means that your feet are taking you to places that you know good and darn well you have no business being there. Stop going there, right? Backtrack, leave, and don't go back. If your feet is leading you to be in the wrong places at the wrong time and you know what the wrong places are for you, stop going there. Stop. I know that sometimes it can be like, muscle memory. Well, make that muscle forget. Make it have amnesia and stop going there. The other thing is if your hand causes you to stumble. Now, I'm going to try to keep this PG because this is YouTube and I'm not trying to get this video taken down because I feel like this is a very important message. If your hand causes you to stumble, let's use the example if you are somebody who likes to throw hands, right? Fighting other people, laying hands on people, right? Squaring up. Stop. Find something else to do with your hands. Go to the gym, right? Take up kickboxing, paint, draw, write, do something else with your hands. If you are a person who partakes in the pleasing of self, find something else to do with your hands. Anything else, okay? Find something, well, not anything else, I take that back. Find something else productive that is not sinful to do with your hands. That's all I got for you with your hands and your feet. Find something else to do. And if your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you. Now, again, I don't know if y'all should meant this literally, but if you are watching things that you have no business watching, that causes you to do other things that you have no business doing, stop watching it. If you're reading things that you have no business reading, stop reading them. If you are scrolling and looking at things on social media that you know is going to cause you to sin, whether it's through actions or through your thoughts, stop looking at it. The thing is, when it comes to sin, we can quite literally prevent ourselves from sinning. We can stop ourselves from sinning. The thing is, we just choose not to because it brings whatever kind of pleasure, whatever the sin is, it brings pleasure to us. And so we just choose not to do it, right? We would just choose not to stop ourselves from doing those things. But no, if you know what your stronghold is, then you need to prevent yourself from falling into that trap, the scandalon, the stumbling block. It's a stumbling block. If you know that that one thing that you're watching, that you're doing with your hands, that you're going with your feet, if you know that that thing is going to cause you to sin, stop. Find something else to do. Find you something safe to do. All right. And so at the end of verse 9, Gehenna, right? So in the Blue Letter Bible, it says Gehenna is hell, a place of future punishment. Originally, it was the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem, where the filth and dead animals of the city were cast out and burned. Now, mind you, Yahusha referred to a lady as a dog. All right, and she said, even the dogs eat the crumbs. Right, the crumbs fall off the table. Even the dogs eat the crumbs. So he equated these Sumerians as dogs or two dogs, right? So filth and dead animals of the city cast out and burned, those are the people who are going to be thrown into the lake of fire. They can be considered filth and dead animals because they are dead. They are spiritually dead. So their punishment is death, which is the lake of fire. Right? This is why word study is important. It is it is really important when you are reading the word to look into these words and to know what these words mean. Highly, highly important. But that's all I have for y'all. Thank y'all for listening.